I appreciate you as you join us in our continuing discussion on the Nigerian microfinance experience. So the base, the customer base for microfinance banks, is it as it is today? Is it what we envisaged in 2005 when the policy was being set? Are these the same customers that we were looking at, or has it changed somewhat?
I think it has improved tremendously. We've given more access to funds to a number of people that hitherto could have no access. We have reduced the distance that people had to travel to access loan. And I think the number improves and increases by the day.
And but my thing is, since we're giving loans, and in some cases there may be need for collateral, there are cases where there's probably not much need for collateral. How are people sensitized, especially poor people who may not have been exposed to measures like this? How are they sensitized to understand when perhaps they need to put down something for collateral and when there's probably no need for collateral?
Okay, you see, the truth about microfinance is that it's down to the methodology. You have to understand the methodology. Microfinance is not commercial banking. In a lot of cases, actually the opposite, direct opposite of commercial banking. For us, for instance, we focus on women. If you check statistics with the commercial bank, it's mostly male. They emphasize on collateral. We de-emphasize collateral. Now,
but there are cases where you demand collateral.
I'll talk about that. So when I talk about methodology, for instance, with women, we do what is called group lending. In other words, you allow a group of women to self-select themselves, either based on commonalities, either trade, language, or where they live, and then there's cross guarantee. So if you have a group of 5 women, for instance, and one of them has to pay you back, all 5 are still owing. What that just does is that the other 4 will bring peer pressure on the person owing and ensure that she pays, or in some cases they will actually pay for her. Why would they do that? Because microcredit is evergreen. If the women pay back, they're sure to get it again. So it makes a lot of sense for them to ensure that whoever is not paying pays up.
What if a person really can't pay?
What I'm saying is, if a particular woman, okay, now that's another area where finance is different from commercial banking. Where the customer needs help, or we call them members need help, we could also actually help. But in some cases, it might be that she needs a little extra to get out of whatever she's going through. When we started, we used to, worldwide statistic as of today, our repayment is about 98% microfinance.
98%
worldwide statistic. When we started this journey about 5 years ago, I can tell you, I used to think it's not possible. You can't do that, and all that. But over time, after toying with the model, and we've tried to study. I mean, I was in India for 2 weeks, till end of last year, to just even see what people are doing. And when they come and give us statistics, how are they able to do it? And what we discover is that an average Nigerian person is not necessarily bad. Or worse than an India where the payment is 98%. It's about getting the methodology correctly. But I can tell you that today we have locations where you have 100% payment and no default.
There's people making payments as due.
People are making payments as due. And when you have challenge, like I've said, the model itself ensures that there's self-correction, there's peer pressure, and all of that.
Now, what I remember that was set in place at that time was that if you had a capitalization of about 20 million, you could have 1 unit. If you had up to 1 billion, you could spread all across a state.
The 1 billion is now 2 billion.
No,
it's now 2 billion.
The policy now is that the microfinance banks are categorized into 3.
Okay.
You have a 2 billion for a nationwide microfinance bank. You have 100 million for a statewide microfinance bank where you can open branches as many as you can.
Okay.
And then you have the unit microfinance bank.
Okay.
And apart from the branches, you also have meeting points where you meet groups and enable them to access credit. And so we've made it possible for even people in the remote areas to be able to access credit, except that we do not have as much funds as we would have expected to meet up this high demand based on the population that we have and the demand that we also expect from our clients.
Mr. President himself is very keen and understands this very well. When he was governor of Bayelsa State, I had the privilege of working with him then, and he put the largest amount of money of any government, any state government on the table. He put 2 billion naira in partnership with my organization at the time. So I know that he understands, what it means, to look to stimulate activity at the grassroots. We cannot be successful. We will never achieve that, wanting to be amongst the top 200 economies in the world, if we don't carry everybody along. And it's not even a matter of carrying microfinance organizations along. It's a matter of carrying everybody along.
It's something to do by the administration, but I think it's also good to give some people credit.
Yes.
For instance, we have 2 governors that are talking to us actively. One, I should say, we're at about 98%, in terms of giving us fund for on lending in partnership with our eccentric cooperative.
Yes.
One of the governor, also based on his background, genuinely wants to help the people.
Yes.
Genuinely wants to do microcredit. His interest is for us to lend the money at a reasonable rate and for the money to come back so that we can circulate it. So if we already have, in our own case, 2 of these governors who are really genuinely wants to do microcredit, I think the work is a bit easier because,
yes.
And given what you've said about Mr. President, if we do the advocacy thing, chances that we'll be successful is very high.
And in addition, there are a number of local government chairmen who have shown that drive.
Yes.
In fact, they have demonstrated it practically. And we will build on that. And it gladdens our heart to know that Mr. President is also a driver. We have no doubt, because even looking at the Agri Transformation Program that they explored, is a clear indication that will provide employment, yes, for our people at that level.
I tell you something else that government can do.
Yes.
This is very simple because this is what's going on in India at the moment. In India, the microfinance banks are not allowed to mobilize savings or deposit from the public. So how do they get funding? And how come they have some of the biggest microfinance banks in the world? By legislation, by regulation, all the commercial banks in India must do 40% of their risk asset base through microfinance.
Yeah.
So if our CBN governor, for instance, will just instruct the commercial bank that, look, a minimum of 10, we can start from 10, they're doing 40 in India, must go through microfinance for on lending because the microfinance are better suited to lend to certain categories of people. There's some places where we are now, we're clear, no commercial bank can come there.
But what has been the experience, with our customers, with the customer base right now, in terms of their readiness to actually save with microfinance banks, not to talk of commercial banks? Because in Nigeria now, about 70% of the people have never deposited money anywhere, saved anywhere, I should say. 70% of adults, or people 15 years of age and over, have not saved money at a financial institution. So all these people, it could be that all they have is 1,000 naira, but where do they keep it? They dig ground in their farm and keep it there? Or where are they if we have microfinance banks close to the people, as we have said?
Yeah, well, the experience will vary from place to place because of our cultural diversity and other elements therein.
Yes.
There are those who do not truly believe that they have to save and expect also that interest will accrue from the savings. There are those who prefer to buy, let's say, foodstuff. And what we try to do is that we try to conscientize them, we try to educate them on even the security of the money they want to keep either in their homes or elsewhere.
Yes.
Some may provide that money and you tie it to say foodstuff. You store the foodstuff for a while and such foodstuff is also sold at an appropriate time. Some of them have difficulties by probably some cultural reasons to come up. But we require time, yes, to actually educate them and sensitize them. Advocacy is very important in this aspect.
Absolutely.
And we believe that in the course of time, they will see reason to so do.
And that's why I think that what you're doing is not easy by any means, because you're dealing with a population that is not extremely literate. And you have to, as you use the word, conscientize them. You have to sensitize them. You have to inform them of the possibilities. I believe that when people are armed with knowledge, they do a lot more. And so you also need capacity, not only in terms of your loan base, but in terms of your ability to do the job out there, sensitizing people, causing people to understand what it means to save at an institution like yours. Where are you getting resources and not capacity from?
Okay, if I may come in our case, we have a subsidiary called First Academy. First Academy is actually a licensed trainer by the CBN. We train other MFBs, top management, to pass the compulsory certification exam, which all management of microfinance must pass before they can run MFBs from 2013, according to the CBN. So there is a unit of our academy that actually do what we call sensitization for the microcredit.
Yes.
There are a lot of misconception and myths about microfinance. It is wrong, absolutely wrong, that the poor don't save.
Yeah.
Our experience has been very different. For instance, the women, we have a scheme which is strictly for women. They actually do save. And what we find out at any point in time, about 1/3 of our risk asset, our portfolio to them, we have that in savings from the same people.
Okay.
So it's for us, it's been a very interesting journey. The poor save, and the repayment is very good. Okay, in terms of collaborative, I will just have to here. We just made this investors conference yesterday, where quite about 10 major investors came to talk to us. As we speak, we have another bigger gathering in Italy at the moment. Some of our colleagues, there's an annual microfinance event in Italy are there at the moment. Between the 4th and the 10th of next month, we're also in London for a roadshow organized by the NSE. So we're looking beyond just Nigeria. We're seeing what's possible.
Okay.
And the response has been absolutely phenomenal. Everybody knows about the 160 million people, and they see the potential, and they are very interested.
Okay. On that note, Mr. Oketikun, I want to thank you so very much for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
Excellency,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Akun, I want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If we want to have an economy that is